Today we're putting in Mary's T-frames. She came over yesterday, walked through my garden, and asked for some help getting her T-frames into her garden. She already has an established garden, so we're going to go with her existing garden beds. I told her I'd meet her at her place at 9 o'clock, so I got up this morning and prefabricated the T-frames. Fortunately, I have a nice chop saw that will make these 4x4 cuts in one cut, which makes it really easy. So I took two 8-foot 4x4s, cut them 6 feet long. Then I used the scraps from those and made the supports here using a 45-degree cut. Then I got my 5th 4x4, then cut 2-foot lengths and put 45s on them. Pre-drilled the screws. I marked the center of the 6-footers. Pre-drilled for my 6-inch nails. Then I measured in 4 inches and 24 inches, and I pre-drilled those for the eye screws. Now I've got my mallet. Everything's ready. I'm going to go ahead and put in the nails and then screw in the supports. Then these will be ready to take over to her house. I have the 6-inch nails nailed in now, but before I put on the 45-degree supports, to make sure that we have a nice square corner here, and then I'll go ahead and screw it in. This looks good. After a little bit of adjustment, now I'm ready to put in the supports. The T-frames are prefabricated. The truck's loaded. It's time to go over to Mary's house. Here we are over at Mary's garden. We moved 6 strawberry plants, we meaning Mary, out of this bed, and she'll be planting those elsewhere. We're going to be putting in the T-frames here and planting sugar snap peas this morning. As you can see, she's got a rock bed. It's actually more than 4 feet wide, but she's lost about a foot and a half in gardening space with the rock. Rock's very pretty, but it does take up space, but she should be able to get, and I recommend that she does put in 2 rows here and pretend this is 2 18-inch wide boxes. So she's turning the soil to loosen it up and mix in the pre-plant and weekly feed fertilizer while I dig some post holes and get ready for the T-frames. The T-frames went up quickly and easily. Now we're ready to add the 2x4 supports that will go along here and help stabilize the T-frames. Because you don't always get the T-frame square, the easiest way to measure the distance for this 2x4 is to measure right at the base along here. Okay, the T-frames are completely done. You can see we have the 4 strands of wire across the top to tie the vertical baler twine on. Mary and I just finished adding the wire down the bottom so that we can tie the bottom of the vertical wire, and then we're going to be planting sugar snap peas. As you can see, we use the garden marker to get the soil ready to know where we planted the seeds. We use a 6-inch spacing here, and we've got seeds going down here. She has 122 seeds in here, and she has very light and sandy soil. So typically you would just simply put sand up top these seeds, but since there's so much sand in the soil, it's going to drain well and not be heavy on the seeds. So we're just going to rake the soil right over the seeds and cover up the seeds, just like that. In order to measure 10-foot lengths, what we simply did is took the 170-pound baler twine and wrapped it around the T-post, as you can see, and we actually ended up emptying the whole row. We made 128 10-foot lengths here, and this is kind of interesting. It's a landmark. It's been 1 year since I started Mittleider gardening, and it took me 1 year to use 4,500 feet of baler twine between what I have in my garden, what people purchase from me and are using in their gardens. Make sure you use the right stuff, otherwise your plants will be falling down with all the weight. So check the link below for the proper baler twine and a good price on it. We are completely done with today's tasks, and that is getting the T-frames up, which include the wire supports for the vertical baler twine, getting the baler twine up, the lower vertical support, getting the soil all prepared with the weekly feed and the pre-plant fertilizer, and getting the sugar snap peas planted and all of the vertical lines tied up. The only thing left to do is to water, and she's done. She does want to protect them from possible freezing, so she is going to be building the canopy here and then putting plastic, and that'll happen later on this week. So she'll have a completely protected garden that will be able to grow year-round here in Houston. And this is a very high yield garden because she's using the Mittleider gardening method. One of the things she wanted to know was how much should I plant of different things, because she didn't know what the yield would be. And so I had her print off the Mittleider gardening planting detail sheet, and she realized really how much she's going to get from these boxes. She's very, very excited. What we realized with these 3 10-foot long, 4 feet wide garden beds, that she can grow all the fruits and vegetables that her family wants to eat and not have to buy them at the grocery store, and be able to control the quality, quantity, and availability of her fruits and vegetables. This is LDS Prepper reminding you, if ye are prepared, ye shall not fear. And to learn more about the Mittleider gardening method and how you can grow all the fruits and vegetables for your family, check out the links below this video.